Just syntax changes, the logic remains the same, and if I can learn it, I can do it. That's it.
Exactly. The logic remains the same. The logic is all that is the crux of any programming language. Okay, to be a programmer, you should be good at logic. Once you're good at logic, we can write programs in any given language, right? Language doesn't really make any difference. So what I understand basically discussing with you is you are already exposed to ABAP, right? You have done training on ABAP. At least you have done some basic training in ABAP. So what is your expectations from this particular training? What are you looking forward to as part of this training?
Yeah, what I want is I just want to brush up the concepts that I've already learned. I just want to do the more and more practice on those concepts, as well as there are few concepts that maybe Vijay has mentioned. I want to
Which
learn
one?
those concepts from the scratch. Right.
Which one? What are the ones?
Let me tell you, those concepts are like, one second. Like dynamic programming in advanced like creating dynamic screens using classes, creating dynamic tab scripts, table controls, web services in advanced, interface programming, then BDC.
Wait, let me write. Okay, dialog programming. Okay, then you said something about classes. Using classes. Okay, then what did I hear? It is so fast. Web services. Okay, web services. What else?
Interface programming.
Okay.
SAP scripts.
That is very old. Okay, SAP script, not Adobe Form. Scripts and smart forms. Okay. Did you get yourself SAP certified?
Sorry?
No, not yet.
Are you SAP certified?
No.
No, generally SAP certification courses skip out on script and smart forms. So I was thinking that you were okay. Script, smart forms. Okay. Dialog programming, classes, interface programming, SAP scripts. Anything else?
Adobe Forms.
Adobe Forms.
Yeah, Adobe Forms, and then
systems are different. Adobe Forms.
Yeah. And then also, yeah, enhancement framework, enhanced user experience values.
Enhancements. Okay.
And then
object-oriented ABAP programming.
ABAP. Okay.
And one more thing. So I'm not sure you are covering the interfaces programming, like ALE, IDOCS.
If we are looking out for interface programming, then we have to do ALE IDOCS.
Yeah. So we have file based also, right? So that's very
important. File base is generally put in a category called
so you also go like BDC programming.
That is file based BDC programming falls under your data migration. We generally discuss it as part of data migration. So when we discuss interface programming, we discuss ALEs and IDOCs. See, now these are all very generic terms. When I say an interface, from a programming standpoint, if you look SAP, especially ABAP programming, so we cannot put all these things like this in any ABAP profile or an ABAP resume. So generally in an ABAP resume, we will highlight it as RICEF. Right. So in RICEF, you take C, which stands for conversions, and I, which stands for interface programming. They are very, very similar or very close by. Okay. So generally when we talk of data migration, we are talking about conversion programs. Programs which upload data using flat files. Programs which are designed to do initial data load before go live or before cutover. When we talk of interfaces, we are generally talking about the technologies and techniques that are available to transfer data both in and out of SAP. So maybe I can design an interface program. Maybe I can design an interface program which is file based. So just because it is a file doesn't mean that it is defaulted as a conversion program. It can be an interface program. So the nature of the program is decided based on the goal the program achieves. But when we are learning about programming, commonly when we are talking about interface programming, we focus on ALEs and IDOCs only. Because all file-based transactions and file-based application, we discuss as part of data migration. Okay, so interface programming will be ALE IDOCs, and data migration is your BDCs and LS&W, call transaction, all those line items. Okay, script as such is fine. Adobe Form, we have to check. We need to have systems where we can work on it. Enhancements, oops. Okay, no, you don't want this one. WebDyn Pro and all. WebDyn Pro was not part of the list of elements you are looking for.
Yes, we wanted, because whatever topics Shivani and I mentioned, like they are currently in use. So WebDyn Pro is also required.
Yeah, but we cannot cover it as part of ABAP training. I don't know how Ganesh will work out on the course. Okay, that is something we'll have to look at. Okay, so generally WebDyn Pros, there are, see, from an ABAP profile standpoint, if you see, there is WebDyn Pro, there is workflow, okay, and now actually you can add a few more things. One more thing which is gaining momentum is UI5. Okay,
So at this point we are not expecting, so we'll be fine. So that we can take it later.
That's fine, okay, don't worry, I'm not going to teach Wi-Fi at all. I'm just highlighting it, okay. We will not. We will have only till this much. This is what is your ABAP course, or when we generally say ABAP course, online ABAP programming, this is the course. WebDyn Pro in itself is a course, and workflow in itself is another course, and UI5 is another course. Okay, they are all independent elements. But generally when you talk ABAP as a whole, these are all things that you can highlight it. These are things that will come at a much later stage when you are pretty comfortable with ABAP programming. I will never recommend anybody to go for these things without you being comfortable with ABAP programming. Okay, you need to be comfortable working on ABAP programming before moving into all these kind of things. Okay, so dialog programming, web services is something I will have to check. Okay, whether we will be able to demonstrate it or not. Need a lot of infrastructure in place to check web services. Okay, dialog programming is fine. Data migration, interface programming using ALEs and IDOCs is fine. Form developments, scripts, smart forms, Adobe Forms, enhancements using exits, baddies, BTEs, and implicit enhancements. And OOABAP. See, object-oriented ABAP is no different from our generic ABAP programming. The fundamental variance being the style of programming. Object-oriented programming primarily focuses on writing ABAP applications using the OOPs or the concepts of OOPs, object-oriented concepts. So anybody who is proficient in object-oriented concept will by default be comfortable with object-oriented ABAP. So why this is given a special place in ABAP programming is primarily because you know that ABAP as a programming language was a procedural programming environment. It's a typical procedural programming language which was later on upgraded to object-oriented programming. Object-oriented programming brings with it a lot of add-on functionalities in SAP. Okay, if we look at SAP's programming constructs, you will notice that object-oriented programming basically helps you to design much more complex screen interfaces and screen applications and all those things. So it is not the business process logic that has become robust or have evolved with the advent of OOPS in ABAP. OOPS in ABAP has brought in more flexibility with respect to screen designing. That is what OOPS has brought in into ABAP. Okay, and then OOPS has its own features, inheritance and polymorphism and all, okay, interfacing and all, which in turn helps a lot of newer ABAP environment like in the WebDyn Pros and UI5s, which are predominantly object-oriented in nature. Like WebDyn Pro, if you take, you cannot work in WebDyn Pro ABAP without object-oriented ABAP. It will just not work, because the entire framework is designed using object-oriented constructs. So that way it is. All new things that are coming is object-oriented. So object-oriented ABAP is your gateway to all new things in ABAP. Okay. So beyond these topics that we have spoken, we have basics in ABAP. Okay, primarily in basics in ABAP, we focus on data dictionary, OpenSQL, and internal tables. Okay, when we generally focus on basics in ABAP, we focus on these areas: data dictionary, OpenSQL, internal tables, declarations, keywords, basic statements, how do you write, what are the key programming constructs when we are writing above statements and syntaxes. That is what we focus on. Okay, that is what we focus on. But as you say, okay, you have gone through ABAP, so we can quickly revisit them. Okay, go through these elements and then move on into all these areas of ABAP programming. So when we are working on these areas in ABAP, okay, so what best can be done is we can work on some examples. We can pick up some examples which are very realistic, okay, which is very similar to what is done in a real world environment. Okay, work on assignments that are available. That is what we can do. That is what we generally will be covered as part of the training. Okay, the topics will be covered and exercises will be shared, which you can work on, share. Okay, those kind of actions are what we will be covering up on that area. So if you are looking out for anything more specific, let me know. Okay, if you let me know, I can surely take you through. But these things are pretty straightforward. I think I can cover those elements. So because as you say, you are already exposed to ABAP, I don't really want to go through what is an R/3 system, presentation server, application server, database server, all those stories. These are stories that you are aware of. We can get into more realistic things in programming also. Generally what happens is we always, as an ABAPer, we feel that I know ABAP. But when we actually start doing things, there will always be question marks, there will be always new learnings in ABAP. That's for sure. Even after spending 10-11 years in ABAP, I still feel that you always jump into new things in ABAP every now and then. So during the course of the session, that is what we will be doing. Look at these elements, look at the data dictionary. Now you know data dictionary, you know what is a table, you know what is a structure, you know what is a view.
Yeah.
But we will go into the details and see where do we stand, what is our knowledge, is there any gap, discuss on those gaps, identify areas where gaps are there and fill up the blanks. That is how we will navigate, so that it adds on to the learnings that have been done before, okay, and not negate. We know something and we have to take it to the next level. That's the idea, right?
Okay.
It's good that you have told me what you're looking forward to. Okay, so dialogue programming. Dialogue programming primarily focuses on screen designing right? Dialog programming is all about designing screens and screen applications using table controls, custom containers. So when it comes to classes, it will be custom containers in screen programming. Okay. Web services we have to check, okay, is proxies and other web services. Converting a function module to a web service is a very easy task. But if this web service is not consumed, what is the use of creating a web service? Okay, we need to really see a web service in use, we need to consume the web service which SAP is creating. Okay, so to create a web service is very easy. If you go to SE37 function module, after creating a remote enabled function module, if you go to function module extra functions, convert the function module to a web service is a direct action that is available. SAP will build a XML schema and convert your function module to a web service, not a big challenge. The question is how do you consume it? How do you consume this web service into an external application? And that's going to be a challenge. How are we going to do that? We will not have an infrastructure. If you are in an office environment, what will happen? You will have other teams, you have other members who are working parallelly with you to really do end-to-end. There's a .NET guy. You are converting a web service and giving it to the .NET person. That guy is consuming your web service and accessing content of the SAP database and displaying it on a web page. So end-to-end process. That's going to be a challenge here. Data migration, yes, we can look at data migration, which data migration primarily focuses on building applications which can upload data from a file and post it into SAP. That's what primarily data migration focuses on. It's always about upload of data. So we have different techniques to upload the data into SAP. One of the most primitive being the BDC or batch data communication technique, which in turn can be driven using a call transaction method or a session method. You have newer techniques like a direct input method or a direct input program or business APIs. Business APIs can be used to upload data. Okay, so we primarily look at all these things. Then we have something called as LSMW. LSMW is basically a tool which allows you to migrate data from flat files into SAP without introducing any major program logic or without introducing any major programming.
Okay.
Okay, then you have interface programming. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to ask one question, like,
Yes, go ahead.
what kind of what kind of structure are you going to follow? Like, covering, take an example like web services. So how are you going to teach it? Like, you'll first explain me the concept, then you'll give me assignment. Like, how?
Generally, the training program will primarily focus on, suppose we take an example, data migration. Okay, so what we will be focusing on is what are the possibilities in data migration. So using a batch, using a BDC approach, how do you upload the data? So we will take up some example of uploading a material or uploading a sales order. And then once we have done that example in the session or in the class, we will be having some assignments shared and similar requirements have to be recreated by you, wherein uploading of the data using a certain technique, uploading a data view by introducing multiple validations, uploading data which has transactional data which has both header and item details. So these kind of assignments will be shared with you. So for each of these areas, some things will be done in the session to showcase how that activity can be done. Then assignments will be provided,
Okay.
which needs to be worked upon to recreate those functionalities or recreate those actions. So this is what we can do. Okay. So if you want any, okay, most of the assignments will be realistic. When I say realistic, it will be something very similar to what or how requirements come about in a real world scenario. See, what happens when we are trying to replicate a real world requirement is the extent to which we can have business process logic into our assignment. Beyond a certain point, we will not be able to have complex business processes. On the workflow, what happens is you have the functional team with you. So no matter how complex the business requirement is, there is somebody out there who can help us, who can guide us and tell us what is the idea of that functional. That will not happen in a training session. So the assignments as well as the examples taken up in the session will focus or revolve around functionalities which as an ABAPer you can be comfortable about and nothing more complicated. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
ALE IDOC, with ALE IDOC we may not be able to have multiple system environment, but we will replicate the IDOC configuration and IDOC transfer across multiple clients. So we can have a system with multiple clients. So we'll send the data across multiple clients and see how they are working and what are the possibilities, how do you track IDOC, how do you develop IDOC, how do you work with IDOCs. Okay, IDOC monitoring, all this kind of thing. Scripts and smart form, again, as I said before also, take up some realistic example. Do those examples focusing on the various aspects that are available in these form template designing tools, and then utilizing the same tools for some example exercises. Configuration of the script and smart form to standard application. That's an important activity because it's not always that the smart form will be using or called using some custom Z transactions. They will be called even from standard transactions. So how do you configure your Z smart form to a standard transaction, make it trigger? If you want to introduce some logical change when the script is being triggered or the form is being triggered, so what is the way out? All these things is what we will discuss.
Okay.
Okay, so check through the syllabus that is shared across. Okay, and if there are any more areas you feel that needs to be discussed or you feel we should discuss, bring it up and we can have, at least we can check and see, validate it if we can discuss it or not. Do I know it or not? Okay, do I know a lot of things in ABAP doesn't mean that I know everything in ABAP. Okay, we will always have gaps. So we need to cross verify and then comment or commit on that. Okay. But one key point is that generally actually I informed him also at evening hours we will not be able to take a session. I am generally available in the morning hours. It's in the morning hours that I take sessions or have sessions. So evening hours are going to be challenging for me. Okay.
What will be the morning time then?
Generally morning, currently I have a session going on which will be over in a week or two, which is morning 7:30 to 8:30. So anytime in the morning, 6 in the morning or 5 if you are based out of US, and from 5 in the morning we can meet at any given point, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Yeah.
9 I will be leaving for the day.
So sorry, what is your name?
My name is Shibu.
Shibu. Okay. Shibu, like actually like